that just like it was today to talk about, well, I'm an experiencer, the ridicule and stuff now, people don't chuckle so much, but maybe back then too, Rome wasn't going to be tolerating any other gods. And maybe that talk, we can't talk about that. Well, Jesus, is his father really an extraterrestrial? But you can't be told. I mean, that's what got him in trouble anyway, 30 some years later. So I'm just suggesting that there's a possibility that, just like it's a little more open now, but I'll be ridiculed. Would you believe that? Come on, he's not. What are you talking about? It may have been.
No, you're right. That's
at
totally
that
true.
time.
There's so much evidence, even just in the Bible itself, about this cover-up.
Because Rome does not. They don't take too well to talk of other gods or sons of gods. Caesar was God.
There's one thing that I get really suspicious of, and that's especially when I'm talking to other traditional theologians. There's a real tendency to drop into ridicule and patronize people and say, "Oh, of course, now we know that," and they get very up on their high horse. I'm reminded of the old notes that were discovered in the pulpit of the old minister after he died, and it said on the pulpit, "Your argument is weak here. Pound the pulpit and yell louder." I really tend to wonder if that's what we're dealing with people who are really they know their argument is weak when they stick to the traditional ways of some of these quote spiritual unquote interpretations, and so they try to cover it up with ridicule and with patronizing people and just yelling louder or saying, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." Period. If we can't have an open discussion about this, we're just turning our backs on, I think, something that offers a lot of insight.
It does.
Yeah,
it's tough.
absolutely.
It's tough though. It's tough because what happens is, where this goes is, at least where it went for me, being an experiencer, in some ways, if you're insecure about it, I find that more Orthodox Christians, they're upset because you're taking away the uniqueness of Christianity. If you're saying that these beings are in the Quran and they're in Native American cosmology and the Vimanas in India and so on, then there's no uniqueness in the Christian story. And so then if you're placing all your eggs in that basket and you're not secure in that, it can be very scary.
No, you're absolutely right. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that uniqueness. Is Christianity unique? Is it supposed to be unique? Did Jesus think it was unique? Did Moses or Abraham think it was unique? I really question this because for a fact that Moses and Joshua did not. They were specifically saying, we are making a choice out of which one of these several gods that are right here that we've seen, which one we're going to follow.
Yeah. I would even go so far as to say that in terms of Christianity, the early Christians, the leaders, Peter and Paul especially, he went to a great deal of effort to make sure that it wasn't unique. That was the big in the big Jerusalem Council in Acts 15. Peter and Paul had a big deal about this because Peter was saying Christianity is Jewish, and Paul says, no, we got to open this up to everybody. So I would say that at the beginning, the founders of Christianity went to great lengths to make sure that Christianity would not be considered just a unique religion. And then the followers, the ones who came afterwards, especially after that great shadow of the 4th century after Constantine, that was when they really tried to make it unique. And that was when they kicked out the Gnostics. And that was when they separated from the Eastern Church and everything else, because
that's when it became a state religion.
Yeah, they wanted it unique because they wanted to use it as a power thing more than a spiritual thing. And that's why a lot of as I say in my book, Censoring God, I think a lot of the New Testament that we have today was not the faith of the original founder. I think it was a political document that was used to unite a realm and made it a state religion.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Christianity is probably more political than it is religious,
Especially
and
nowadays.
it always has been.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and nowadays with the evangelical church going so far into the whole political right idea, the you know, this conservative thing, and all of the things going on.
And the left as well.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah,
gone
yeah. You got to
both
say it.
ways.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You got to say you're absolutely right. So it's being used even today as a power tool. This whole power grab by the conservative American bishops who wanted to deny Joe Biden communion because of his voting record against abortion. And here, you know, communion in the Catholic Church, and Biden is only the second Catholic president we've ever had. Communion is an avenue to God. Whether or not I believe that doesn't make any difference. He does. And so here they were trying to say, we're trying to keep you from God unless you get your political voting right in tune with what we have. So far,
Well,
with the
that's certainly in
Pope's
keeping with
blessing,
my
he's been able to do
experience.
it.
Well, it's also, again, it's also something, remember, Jesus, one of the charges against him was that he wasn't Jewish enough.
Yeah.
And Biden's not Catholic enough.
Yeah.
And so the times changed, but that attitude hasn't. Jesus is, you know, you're not keeping the law of Moses. You're opening this up. We don't care about those folks. And so we have this through line even today in the ministry that Jesus had and what's going on today.